A lot can be documented in 5 years. Added to a binder just getting bigger. 72-year-old Mary Spalding has been building her own case file.
Information that I compiled, emails and correspondence, pictures of my injuries.
As the case LMPD was building on her violent beating.
The skull fracture, upper body bruising, hand injuries.
Was going nowhere.
Both of my hands were crushed.
And which, she says, is now closed. Before work on December 17th, 2018.
I was going down to get socks.
Mary headed down the steps to the basement.
I got to the bottom of the steps. I guess that's where the first blow was taken.
Mary was hit over the head and then was bashed repeatedly.
And I heard pinging sounds that led me to believe that I was being hit with something metal.
She couldn't see who it was.
Face down, like right in this area. And I was getting hit. And the thought came into my head to pretend to be dead.
Left for dead, Mary doesn't remember anything else until she came to about 2 hours later, she says. Bloodied and woozy, she made it up the stairs, laid on her couch, and then called her sister.
And I don't even remember, like I said, her calling 911. I don't remember the officers that were on the scene.
It's going to be a fall.
While other officers felt sure Mary fell down the basement steps, Detective Deidre Mangadote went to work.
There's a boot factory here, a couple of them.
She pointed out the bloody shoe prints on the back steps, and she kept searching for clues, despite the officer with the body cam sounding convinced there were no signs of foul play.
Pretty obvious no one came out of that door. The leaves aren't disturbed, nor
Well,
are
there's
they.
a path. I mean, I can't rule it out. You can't keep persuading me to work this like it's not, because then I won't. And then...
She was all about it, absolutely. Repeatedly told my sister, I'm going to get him.
Mangadote found the blood on the leaf outside the exterior basement door.
Okay, we're driving down his street now.
She also pursued a recent breakup of Mary's, going to his home on the day of the attack and then returning 2 days later to try to question him.
That's the trash. That's in the same position it was when we stopped by on Monday.
Mary says Mangadote, who she called Dee Dee, visited her every day in the hospital, but that stopped suddenly and sadly. Just days later.
There was an officer trapped in the car.
The damage to her vehicle was catastrophic.
Christmas Eve, during a traffic stop on I-64 under the Belvedere, an MSD truck barreled into Mangadote inside her parked cruiser, killing her at the scene. The truck driver, Roger Burdett, was impaired at the time and was distracted, prosecutors stated, watching porn on his cell phone.
It was just devastating. It was devastating.
Mary's champion for justice was gone.
It feels like I'm battling 3 different traumas. The trauma of getting attacked, the trauma of the lead detective getting killed, and then the trauma of no one investigating the case.
Mary says she had to reach out to find out for herself who her case got transferred to. LMPD actually transferred the case twice.
Neither one of those sat down and did an interview with me.
So they were relying on what Dee Dee had put in there prior, but no questions they had for you.
Right. No questions at all.
Meanwhile, Mary questioned the handling of what she calls key evidence, such as the bloody shoe prints.
This was determined to be non-human blood. There's only 2 things. Either it wasn't tested correctly or I'm not human, because I know it's my blood.
Then there's the question of the video from a neighbor's security cameras. Mary says detectives never showed her the video of a man in the back alley carrying a white garbage bag. He was there around the same time Mary finally woke up from the attack and came up from the basement.
My kitchen rug was missing. I believe the weapon as well as the rug were in that bag.
Is it common sense that if you're a police officer and you're trying to identify a suspect, video or photos would be something you would show the victim?
Yeah, I don't know if I watch too much TV, but I would think so.
We tried to ask LMPD the same and specific questions, including why Mary's ex was never pursued further. LMPD offered only a statement, saying in part that LMPD detectives have taken her case seriously, working diligently to provide justice. That detectives and supervisors have repeatedly met with Miss Spalding on numerous occasions, via phone calls and in person, to review the evidence with her and hear her concerns. That, unfortunately, there has not been sufficient evidence for an arrest.
Absolutely feels just like yesterday.
5 years since her attack and since the tragedy of Detective Mangadote. The two eternally bound together, as Mary's case was Dee Dee's last case.
She was determined she would have solved the case. My case died when she died.
The Department of Justice investigated LMPD's history of policing and investigating. In its report released back in March, the DOJ concluded that LMPD detectives routinely failed to sufficiently investigate sexual assault and domestic violence cases, most often by failing to follow up on evidence and prematurely screening cases with prosecutors. Louisville's Office of the Inspector General is currently conducting its own review of Mary Spalding's case, and findings are soon expected to be presented to the Civilian Review and Accountability Board. John Charlton, WHS 11, on your side.